It's Wednesday. It's 9 p.m.
I'm Chris.
I'm Daz.
And I'm Martin. Daz, run the intros.
You're the joker, the expert, the voice, but you're one of the crowd. A vision of weakness you don't.
Evening everyone and welcome to Loaded Football Weekly. My name's Chris and I'm just going to start, as I always do, by letting you know that there's quite a bit of football on this evening. So we've got the FA Cup games on at the minute. And currently we've got Leicester at home to Brighton and Hove Albion. That's currently 0-0. We've also got Sheffield United at home to Bristol City. And Sheffield United are 1-0 up. And Bristol City have had a man sent off. And we've also got Everton at home to Tottenham. And Everton are currently 3-1 up despite being 1-0 down. So that's an interesting result. It's just coming up to half time at Goodison Park. So as I say, it's going to be an interesting night to keep a track of the scores. We've also had an earlier championship game on, which was Reading at home to Brentford, and that finished 3-1 to Brentford. I'm going to pass it over to Daz now.
Okay, the breaking news is the Moonlight Parade lads have joined us early tonight. So that sit back and relax, lads. You're in for a treat for about 25 minutes. So that's the breaking news. So next I'm going to go to Loaded Headlines. And there's not many headlines actually this week. There's not an awful lot happening. So I just decided I'd come up with something different. Let's throw it at you and see what you think. The first one is out of contract players. And I'm going to take away my banner for a second so you can see that properly. So this is players across Europe. I'll take away the picture and maybe we'll go one by one through the players. Or who would you like to see come to the Premier League, lads? Or what's your thoughts on what we see here?
I mean, it's when you look at that, you sent that on to us today, Daz, and I looked at it and I went, "Holy crap!" That's a savage team. If you had those players, and the fact that they're all out of contract in the summer is just absolutely crazy. I mean, I think for me, I'd love to see obviously Messi come to the Premier League, but I think we said on last week's show, I can't really see him wearing another jersey other than Barca. I think if he did, I think, probably the only destination is Man City. Ramos, I'd love to see come. I think he'd fit into any Premiership team. Still lose his quality and stuff, but yeah, some of the players are crazy. But for me, the likes of Messi and Ramos, stars you've watched. Wijnaldum, I'd take him back at Newcastle. Depay, as we've obviously seen. Di Maria is there. Draxler. Did Draxler play in the Premier League at all? No. Yes. So he'd be another one. No. But yeah, it's a crazy team, and you'd wonder who's gonna tie them up. But I have seen bits looking like the likes of Ramos looking to move. So it'll be interesting to see whether if City win the league this season, do they make a couple of statement signings and go after somebody like Messi? But look, I mean, if his contract, like we seen the other week, is anything to go by, I'm not sure any club's got that kind of money, nor at the minute, not in the current COVID world. So yeah, but crazy, absolutely madness. Does that all those players are coming up to the end of it? So yeah, mad.
What's your thoughts, Chris?
I'll tell you what, it's a hell of an 11, isn't it? I mean, straight away, my eyes were drawn to the defence. I mean, Alaba, Ramos, and Boateng. That's some backline, that isn't it? And obviously, you've got Donnarumma, who's at AC Milan at the minute, isn't he? I didn't realise he was running out of contract actually. So that's really interesting, and I think a lot of clubs will be in for him.
He's only 21 as well.
Yeah, it's a cracking signing for any club, really, isn't it? The value you're getting in bringing him in. He's got what, 15 years ahead of him at least. So that'd be a hell of a signing. As Martin said, the Messi one's really interesting because give it 12 months ago, and I'd agree with you, Martin. I couldn't see Messi anywhere else other than Barca. But it's funny, like with what's been going on, especially at Barca, in terms of their, funding issues, and they're having financial difficulties, aren't they? And there's talks of them being close to bankruptcy. I think it's going to be an interesting time in La Liga, because I think a few players are going to be wanting to jump ship. I know Sergio Ramos. He's in the past, he's used Man United as a bit of a pawn, hasn't he, to try and get a new contract. And I wonder now whether they are thinking maybe La Liga
time to cash in,
isn't the place it was, and maybe everyone wants to get in the Premier League. I mean, that's where the money's going to be, isn't it? So interesting.
Exactly.
But there's some cracking players on there. Gini Wijnaldum, as you touched on, Mart.
Yeah,
another cracking player.
Who would you take, Daz?
What I did here, I looked at the ages of everyone really, and I said, okay, the keeper, he's going to stay at AC Milan. He's definitely going to sign on, I think. The Boateng, who was at City before, he's 32. I could see him staying in Germany. Ramos, he's 35. There's no value in bringing him to the Premier League. The likes of the old Bolton, Sam Allardyce, bringing in the old lads is gone. Alba, I'd say he could go end up with somewhere like Barca or something like that, even though they have no money. Madrid, Real Madrid actually were linked to him as well. Wijnaldum, as you said, I'd love to see him back at Newcastle. For Nino, he's 35 as well, too old for me to go to another Premier League. He'll do a job, but kind of too old at this stage. Draxler, I don't know an awful lot about, to tell you the truth. Depay, he didn't do great at Man United, but I think he's only 26. There's another shot in the Premier League left in him, I think. Di Maria, I think he's another Ozil at this stage in his career. Messi, he's not going to leave Barca for me. And Aguero, I think he'll move on. He won't go to another Premier League club. He might go back to Spain or something again, or maybe even. I don't know. I don't know where he's been injured an awful lot, really. So
I think if Atletico win the league in Spain, I could see Aguero maybe going back to Atletico.
Yeah, like a Costa move.
Possibly. Sorry, Mark. I was going to say I think he said he'd quite like to go back to Argentina as well. I think he wants to do a bit of a Tevez, and go back to his roots, so to speak. So I don't know whether maybe Boca Juniors or someone.
Yeah, he's married. I think he's married to Maradona's daughter, or
that's right. I remember hearing something.
That would you could see him kind of taking up the whole Maradona piece of going back to Boca and wearing the number 10, and you could see a little link there. So that would make sense. I think Daz, your point though about some footballers being too old to do it. You were talking about Boateng and a couple of others there, but Chelsea took Thiago Silva.
Yeah, that's who came to my mind as well.
Yeah. So you get a year out of them.
Yeah. I forgot to mention something. Back onto our loaded 11, just on the topic. We're gonna. Last week you will remember we did goalkeepers, but we're looking at left backs tonight. So I want the people I put the message into the chat as well. I want the people who are watching us live and leaving messages. Think about a left back, because we're going to have our 3 suggestions, and we're going to take a viewer suggestion as well and add it to the Twitter poll for the left back. So have a think. I know one of our not Forest fans there is probably thinking it's Stuart Pearce, psycho. Yeah, I'm getting nods here from Steve. Yeah. Okay, lads, I'm going to move on. We'll go on to our next topic, and again, no headlines. So I'm going to talk about the championship table, and you'll need to put on your glasses for this one. This is the full table, and actually, it's taken the screenshots taken earlier today. So as Chris mentioned, Brentford won their game today, so they've moved to the top of the table now and ahead of Norwich. So lads, I just want to let's talk about the championship. Who do you see getting promoted? Who do you see going down? I suppose looking at where they are now.
I think for me, I think Brentford are flying. Just looking at the scores there, like De Silva got 2, Ivan Toney got another one, but Toney got 2 assists for De Silva. So they're flying. The goal difference is massive. It's between them and Norwich. Norwich look like they're coming with them. I mean, Brentford on 57, Norwich on 55, Swansea on 53, and then you've got Watford, Reading, and Bournemouth. So the spots for the playoffs and stuff are really tight in there, but it's the usual Middlesbrough, they'll probably fall away like they normally do. But I think Brentford, Norwich, and Swansea are looking strong. I wouldn't be at all surprised to see Watford put in a challenge. Reading always seem to play well back end of the season, but for me, I think Brentford and Norwich look like two certs. But Swansea have young Freddie in goal and are not conceding too many. He's having a really great season. So from that perspective, I wouldn't mind seeing Swansea back up. But then, knowing Newcastle, we'd probably take Freddie back. At the bottom end for me, Wickham look like Wickham fans out there, but you look like you're nigh on ready for the drop. But the bottom is really interesting because you've got Rotherham, Coventry, Rotherham, Sheffield Wednesday, Derby, and Birmingham all within a point of each other. And like Daz, I think you made the point before we came on here. There's some big teams in that mix-up for the drop at the bottom there. So yeah, that's my take on it. Could be any one of 4 or 5 at the bottom, but definitely Brentford and Norwich I will be my 2 picks for going up, and then it's any one of 3 behind them. Personal choice, Swansea for me.
Yeah. Okay,
yeah,
Chris,
it's really tight, isn't it? I mean, I think, as Martin said, I fancy Brentford to go up automatically, whether that be in the first or second spot. I think Swansea and Norwich are going to battle it out for second spot. I think I've got a sneaky feeling Middlesbrough are going to make the playoffs, because with Neil Warnock, I always think that gives you half a chance in the Championship, especially. I think his teams are really well organised, well drilled. So I fully expect Middlesbrough to be in the top 6. And it'd be interesting to see what happens with Bournemouth. Obviously they lost Callum Wilson, they lost Ryan Fraser, and now they've lost Josh King. So that's going to be a real tough ask for Bournemouth, to stay in that top 6. I would say Watford are going to be there and thereabouts. I think having Troy Deeney up front is a big plus. It's all about goal scorers for me. Blackburn again, they've got half a chance. Having Adam Armstrong up front, and really I can't see past the teams I've mentioned, and possibly Reading and Stoke in terms of having a chance of making the playoffs. But yeah, the automatic positions for me are sewn up. I think it's going to be Brentford definitely going up, and then it's either Norwich or Swansea that will take that second spot. In terms of being relegated, yeah, it's looking bleak for Wickham, isn't it? Which is a shame. It looks like they're caught adrift. 12 points off. I know they've got a game in hand, but even so, it doesn't look good for them. And since Wayne Rooney's come in, Derby have had a little upturn, so they've improved slightly. So I fully expect Derby to get out of it. Birmingham, massive club. I'd like to see Birmingham get out of it, but it's tight at the bottom, isn't it? I mean, as you've already said, Mart, there's really not much in it, and all it takes is 3 or 4 games. If you win 3 or 4 games on the bounce, you're right out of trouble, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
you could be near a mid-table. You could be 11th or 12th with a couple of wins, with the way the points are at the bottom. So yeah, it's tight. I'd like to see Derby get out of it, obviously because of Rooney, given that it's his first stick at it. But be interesting to see. I wonder, would there be anything in the likes of I was going to say Derby, but just aside for that, but on the Bournemouth piece, I wonder, is there any? I know they pulled in Harry Lampard to give Jonathan Woodgate a hand. I wonder, is there any odds on seeing young Frank Lampard heading back that way to Bournemouth to take up a managerial post and try and get one of his old clubs back up into the Prem?
Yeah,
maybe.
But my take, lads, you've kind of covered a lot of the points I was going to say. I really like Norwich, but yeah, Brentford are flying it, as we found out with their 3rd team this year. I like the Cantwell from Norwich. They also have, of course, Tim Krul, Buena, Max Aarons as well. Good players. Then Brentford, they're flying with Ivan Toney as you mentioned, and Brian Mwembo as well as a good player as well. I noticed when I was looking at them before we played them in the League Cup, and as you mentioned as well, Freddie Woodman from Swansea. I'd like to see Swansea get into the playoffs maybe. And and at the bottom, it's all to play for. I suppose it's very, very tight. apart from Wickham, yeah, they look cut adrift. I'll move on, lads. We've probably spent enough time on this.
Yeah,
We'll
it's
move
good.
on
It's
to
good.
next.
It's good to see you rehearse those really hard names tonight, Daz. That me and Chris
Yeah,
decided not
yeah.
to do. We stuck away from
Kinder
doing
Bueno,
anything
Kinder
tongue-tied
Bueno,
or difficult, and you decided to go for it. So credit to you.
Fair play, mate. Fair play.
Cheers, lads. Cheers. I think it's time to move on to
Loaded leaderboard.
this.
I'm
is your
getting better
section,
every
Chris.
week, aren't I? Better.
Yeah,
every
you're getting better. I mean, it's hard to distinguish you from a professional.
Right now, genuinely, to anyone watching out there, I don't know what the latest is. I don't know who's top. I know last week I was top, and I think the week before I was bottom. So I'm hoping I'm still top, but I'm gonna let Daz reveal.
I didn't get to do the leaderboard this week, lads. So we'll have to leave it till next week.
What a minute.
Well,
Okay, I tell a lie. Okay. There you go.
Oh, look at that.
Hey.
I tell you what, there's
How close is it though?
I knew it.
There's a touch of
Look at that,
Wickham's
though.
about
How
Daz at the
close is
bottom there.
Close.
Yeah, that was. I knew. Do you know what it is? I knew I had a
He's
good
getting
week,
cut
but
adrift.
I wasn't sure.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure where I'd be, but I knew I had a good week.
You pulled it back.
I did pull it back. Yeah.
I think we'll go on to the fixtures for this week.
Yeah.
And
Let's
Chris,
go.
we'll
Yeah,
let you walk us through.
Now's the time for me
Let's
to screw this up totally.
Right, okay, so
Let's
we've got
go.
Leicester at home to Liverpool, and it's the early kick-off on Saturday. I am going to say, I think Liverpool are going to get back to normal ways. I'm going to say Liverpool win. What about you, Mart?
I'm going to take Leicester to win, mate. I think Leicester are good at home. I think Brendan Rodgers will be very clued up, and yeah, I think Leicester will do it. I think it could be 3-1 Leicester. There you go.
Ooh. And I'm saying Leicester as well. I'm not going to predict a score, but I'm going to say Leicester.
You're nearly going to say it.
I nearly did say
there, weren't you? Yeah, I know. There you go. It's catching.
I'll claim it if it was right.
Exactly.
Very good, lads. Very good. Okay, so the next one is Crystal Palace at home to Burnley, and I am going to say Crystal Palace home win.
Yeah, I think I will go the same. I think Palace at home will have a bit too much for Burnley. They're obviously beaten in the FA Cup by Bournemouth last night. I think Burnley are struggling.
Yeah, I'm saying a draw here, lads.
Okay.
I've got to make a comeback some way.
Yeah,
well,
that's right, mate. That's right. Okay, so the next one we've got is Man City at home to Tottenham. Without a shadow of a doubt, as tonight's score is proven, I'm going to say Man City home win.
I'm going to go for a draw purely because I love Mourinho and I kind of have a soft spot for Spurs. So I'm going to go for a draw. I don't think Spurs will win it, but I think there'll be goals either side.
It's Man City for me.
Well, it does. Okay, and then the late kickoff on Saturday is Brighton at home to Villa, and I am going to say a draw.
Villa win for me.
Villa win for me as well.
Okay, lads, okay. So the early kickoff on the Sunday is Southampton at home to Wolves, and I'm going to go for a Southampton win.
I will go Wolves away. Southampton are all over the place at the minute.
And I'm going to go for a draw here, lads.
Oh, totally split. Okay, so then we've got West Brom at home to Man United, and I am going to say a Man United away win, which I'm sure Ben will be happy about.
Yeah, I'm going to book the trend purely for the crack, and I'm going to go with a West Brom win.
Oh,
Big Sam is due one, and you know what?
He is due
just
one.
the fella to fluke one against the big boy. So yeah, I'm going to go with West Brom. Okay. Chance me on. Do I get bonus points if they win?
No.
No.
Oh, right.
No. Remember that complicated formula we tried at the start?
Forget that. On that news.
Yeah.
I'm going for Man United here, lads.
Yeah. Okay, and then we've got Arsenal at home to Leeds. So I'm going to say Arsenal home win.
Leeds away for me.
And I'm going for a draw here.
This leaderboard's going to look
shocking,
isn't
all
it?
over the place.
Yeah.
It's going to be all over the place.
Okay, then we've got Everton at home to Fulham, and I'm going to say Everton home win.
Yeah, and that's purely down to house protection. I'm going Everton home as well.
And I'm going Everton as well.
Okay. Then we've got West Ham at home to Sheffield United, and I sincerely hope that West Ham win, so I'm going to go for a West Ham win.
Yeah, I agree.
Sorry,
West
Sheffield
Ham.
United fans.
Yeah.
I'm
That's our
going
Twitter full of hate now.
I'm going
Sorry,
West
guys,
Ham win
sorry.
as well.
Lovely. Okay, now is an interesting one. So we've got Chelsea at home to Newcastle. Now, despite what everyone thinks, I've been watching Chelsea over the last few weeks, and I think Chelsea aren't all that. I don't think they've clicked onto Tuchel yet. So I think Newcastle are going to nick a draw.
Oh, that's brave.
That's a big call, Chris.
It is a big call. I think if we had defense and we had Callum Wilson, I would be more inclined to call it. But I think Tuchel will have them ticking a bit more, and I will take Chelsea home win, I think, by a couple of goals.
Yeah, it's Chelsea
Sorry.
Chelsea home win for me. Timo Werner to break his duck.
Break his duck. Yeah,
Most
exactly.
probably,
yeah. You can see it coming.
Yeah, no, I can see that, lads. Okay, then we've got Burnley at home to Fulham. Oh, what a tough game. I'm going to say Fulham away win.
Oh, I'll go for a draw.
And I'm going for a draw here as well.
Okay, boys. Okay. And then the last game we've got is Everton at home to Man City. And again, I don't see anyone stopping the Pep train just yet. So I'm going to say Man City away win.
I will obviously buck that trend and say that Ancelotti will be up for the game. So I'm going to take Everton to win.
Everton to win. And I was Man City for me.
Wow.
I'm just gonna look at the comments, lads, for 1 sec, and then we're going to bring on the Moonlight Parade boys. They've waited patiently for this long.
Yeah, it's a good job they write music better than they do look at a clock. I have to say, Jesus, lads. I must have put the time in the emails and the WhatsApps and everything else about 3 times over the last week.
We've got some great suggestions, lads, coming in now for the left backs. We'll go back to those again when we get to that section. But let's move on to our next section, which is, are you ready, Martin?
Ready, Daz? Loaded tune.
Right, let's welcome the boys on. Are you ready, lads? Here's Steve, and here's Ben. Welcome, lads.
Hey, you're right.
Welcome, lads.
Hello, lads.
Welcome to the show. How are we?
All good, thank you.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
you good?
can hear you, Steve.
Yeah, we can hear you, mate. Yeah.
Thank you.
So obviously, last few weeks, we kind of between all of us and the rest of the band, myself and yourselves, we've been bouncing around, and you guys kindly agreed to come on. So I know we have got some football affiliations. So Ben, you are Man United.
Yeah. That's
And
right.
Steve, you are Forest.
Yes.
So give us the lowdown. Why is that locality, or is that through choice, or is it that your dad was mean to you, or what's the story? What's the affiliation, lads?
Ben, you go first, mate.
Yeah, well, for me, not born near Manchester. Grew up in the Channel Islands, so we didn't really have a team to choose from there. So everyone seemed to pick the big teams, and I picked Man U because of Brian Robson, who's my favourite player at the time. So
Good call.
Since then, really sort of early mid-80s, really. The FA Cup sort of era when we used to win the FA Cup quite regularly.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
And Steve, Forest, how'd that come about?
Yeah, it's a long time ago now, but I think obviously at that time in the late 80s when I got into football, they were the team I fell for. We did have a neighbour, because I lived in Southampton at the time, but we had a neighbour who had grandparents from Nottingham who used to send down programmes and merchandise. And it kind of just, I fell in with that, really. I started getting this and, never looked back, really. Even though it's been a tough 20 odd years now.
Yeah, you don't need to tell us, mate. We've had 13 years of Mike Ashley. So listen, you have three plus broken hearts on this show with you tonight. So we're sitting here hoping eventually for a Saudi takeover and a path to Premiership glory. But hey, look, we can all dream. Obviously, from a Forest perspective, and Man United, really, I mean, two massive managers, of days gone by. Obviously, Ferguson at United, but I think for me, from an early footballing point, like my dad's a Man United fan, but for me, I think one of the first managers I ever really watched was Brian Clough at Forest. The green Umbro jersey, I think when I played football, was one of the first jerseys I ever had. Going onto the pitch and the old Umbro tops. I think I think he's someone who was just synonymous as being just top class manager. Obviously, they brought in Trevor Francis, was the first £1 million player, I think. So there is good history, and I've been lucky enough to be into Forest a few times and Old Trafford. So yeah, it's a good choice, I suppose. Daz, Chris, what's your any footy questions for the two lads?
Yeah, well, you kind of stole my question, really, Martin. My question
sorry.
was not Forest when I was going to ask who's your favorite, Steve, who's your favorite Notts Forest manager, or who would be in your top one? That was my question, really, as the man would say himself.
Yeah, it would be Brian Clough. Obviously, I was there for the very good times between sort of 89, 90, 91, where Wembley was like a second home. Very competitive. But of course, I was there for the downfall where he got us relegated and retired and bounced back for a bit. But yeah, it was never the same again, really.
Yeah. I think they should bring back those days. I always remember seeing a clip of fans on the pitch. I remember seeing Cloughie walk to the sideline and thump some fan as he walked past him, give him a right dig across the ear. I think, oh man, imagine Mourinho and some of the managers now if they were still allowed to do that. Like Premiership would be in carnage if you had that kind of levels going on.
He was a good player as well, apparently, wasn't he?
He was.
Clough was a good player. He was a striker, wasn't he, for Sunderland, I think.
He was, yeah. We don't talk about them that much on this show, but it is a football show. But we like to swerve certain topics, lads. So we'll move that swiftly along. So I suppose music. Obviously, I suppose from the pod point of view, I kind of have been chasing bands and artists and spend most of my Sunday afternoons listening to music. We obviously put a tweet out to people kind of get in touch if you fancy coming on. You guys reached out. And I started listening to a few of the tunes. My Spotify is now full of your albums, and I think some of the tunes are absolutely bang on. And I kind of went through a few of them, and we got to the tune that we're going to play tonight, Crescent Moon. I sent it on to the two boys. I went, this is a cracking tune, lads. Like, we got to get these guys on. So obviously, I'm hugely grateful that you boys agreed to come on tonight, talk a bit about music, and we get to play the tune. You've obviously kindly agreed to take part in our loaded quiz. So I guarantee you, Chris has tailored it slightly to give you a chance. We've had a couple, if you've watched the pods, we've had Jace Campbell on and Phil Chaletta, who are sitting first and second. So I'm sure Jace won't mind me saying it's not a high scoring round. So there is hope for you to do well tonight. And there is two of you. So I don't know, Chris, are we doing a separate scoring or are we taking a combined band score?
I think we should take a band score. So it'll be interesting tonight because it's the first duo, isn't it? So you lads got a good chance. Absolutely.
Here's the leaderboard, lads. So you see it. Jace Campbell's on 10, Phil Chaletta is on 9, and yourselves are yet to score. So we'll see where you place.
I'm feeling positive tonight. I can feel a record breaking coming on.
I think so.
So I suppose music-wise, before we kind of get to the tune, tell us a bit about Moonlight Parade. You guys getting together. Obviously, I know there's a couple more lads in the band. So take us through the music piece. When did you guys get together? How did you get going? Albums out, how did you get out and about and start getting the tunes out? And, take us through that first for people that don't know anything about Moonlight Parade.
Yeah, well, there's three of us primarily in the band. We've got a couple more now for playing live, but
Yeah.
it started a couple of years ago with Steve and Alex, who sort of live near each other in Worthing.
Yeah.
They were in bands growing up, and I was in a different band in the Brighton area, sort of early 2000s, mid 2000s. So we all knew each other and became friends that way, kept in touch, and went to gigs together and different things over the years. And then a couple of years ago, Steve and Alex met and decided to start making some music together, and then gave me a shout. And within 3 or 4 months, we'd got an album together. It was that quick. We sort of did it all at home and sent each other stuff. And, we just, every single day we're writing and got really into it. And since then, we haven't stopped really. We seem to have hit upon something as the three of us.
Yeah, no, the tune, like I say, I've got the couple of EPs and I've downloaded the albums and that. I've kind of had them on in the car heading into work of a morning, and there's some great tunes on there. Some tunes that kind of first couple of listens, you kind of go back to them, and it's like, I think like with the likes of Crescent Moon and that, I kind of found myself playing it a few times because there were bits on it that I missed first time I listening to it. And kind of went back to it, and there's a good hook into it and everything else. From a creative kind of writing piece, is it a joint effort between the three years, or is there somebody particularly that does the writing, or how does all that piece work for you?
Well, we do it in a few different ways. Crescent Moon is like that's like our collaborative side of things. So it might. How did that start, Steve? Is it a bass line and then your guitar riff, and then you sent me it? Was it?
Yeah, I think from memory on that one, I'd gone round Alex's for like a 3-hour sort of recording session, and just as I was getting up to go, he said, "One more thing, just listen to the bass line," and it was a bass line, and on the spot, I come up with the guitar jingle. I didn't think much of it, but he seemed quite happy, and I went, and that was it. And then a few months later, it appeared as it is now with you on it. So to me, it come out of nowhere. But I did remember, just started with a bass and a drum, put down the main guitar jingle, and then it built up from there. Just one of them songs from thin air.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? How often you hear, of musicians, and when I wouldn't know personally, lads, because I can barely play the recorder, but the amount of times where you hear these artists and then you say to them, "Oh, how did you come up with the song? Where did you come up with the tune? How did it come about?" And so often, as you've just said there, Steve, it's always something dead simple, isn't it? Something basic, where like it's a last minute thing, and you just go, "Oh, well, we'll just do this before we leave," or I'll just write down a couple of words, and all of a sudden you come up with this fantastic song.
Yeah, it did come from nowhere, definitely.
Well, we got a few different ways now. So we might write a song individually, and then we'll sort of send them in, and if it passed the test, then we'll sort of work on it together. Or different ways. Different. You could sort of tell if you were to go through the songs on each album and EP, you could probably work out which have come from which direction.
Yeah,
and they all go together. So
yeah, no, that is like, and I as I said, I said to the lads sent on the first tunes, and I think as if guys have been listening to the songs as well. What would you say influences wise for you guys as a band? What are the influences? Is there anything in particular, from your point, music that you listen to or you take influence from, or somebody out there that you kind of you look to, or that you've taken anything kind of from, I suppose, any learnings or anything?
I'm a big fan of Radiohead, and going, I like the Beatles and Stone Roses and basically British guitar, indie music, the Smiths. I think we've all got sort of similar interests.
Kind of taste lines,
You like you like the Pixies and that as well, don't you? And different bands like that. But I think we've sort of got our own thing. People have compared us a little bit to like a few 80s bands like New Order maybe, or Echo and the Bunnymen or something. But I don't know. I don't feel that we're a direct comparison. We've sort of got our own little thing going on.
Yeah, I think there is bits in it when you listen to some of them, you could pick up a little bit. But I think you guys have your own style. So I wouldn't necessarily, having listened to the songs, I wouldn't necessarily link you and say you were like this or you were like that. I think there might be bits of nuances within the song somewhere along the line, but I think, for me, listening to it, obviously, as last few weeks coming new to you guys as a band, definitely music wise, I wouldn't be able to sit there and go, yeah, they sound like such and such, because I think you have your own kind of definitive sound for me. So on that side, obviously, today's world is completely different, and you guys were obviously gigging and trying to get out and about. So how is lockdown treating you, and how are you getting the music out there? Are you kind of focusing on getting more tunes together? Or are you doing stuff on, podcasts? Are you YouTubing? What are you guys doing during lockdown and the whole COVID piece as a band?
Well, lockdown probably arguably sped up the release of our EP last May, because it gave us extra time to finish it with the restrictions. So that was sort of small plus on that part. But yeah, it's been stop-start since. We haven't really met much. Every time we get rehearsing, the rules change. So we're back to not seeing each other. But fortunately, we've got the technology to keep in touch musically and send ideas and finish songs off. So that's, we've got time to do that, and that's all well and good. But we've got new stuff on the way. Just need to time it right. We've got a whole load of vinyls turning up, hopefully in the next week, which need to go out to people, and T-shirts for merch. We just want to get that bit done, and then we can concentrate on the next chapter, which will be new releases. We don't want to get people confused with the new stuff and what we're doing with this vinyl. So we just got to be a bit patient. But hopefully in a month or so, we'll start dropping new ones.
Good stuff. And then obviously, in a post-COVID world, then you guys hopefully get back out on the road. Obviously, from a point of the three of us, Chris is in the UK, myself and Daz are in Ireland. So obviously, if you guys do get to tour and stuff, make sure you put somewhere in Ireland on one of the spots if you guys are touring, and give us a shout, because I'm sure we'd love to come out and see you. So go on.
That would be lovely, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Even if it's in Daz's backyard, he lives up near Galway, so he's got a big area there. We can get you out the back. His
marquee out the back would be great.
His missus won't mind at all. There'll be cold Guinness. We'll hook all that up. That'll be fine. A few lights. What more do we need?
We'll send you pictures.
I'll have to come to Ireland for that.
Yeah, well, any excuse for a pint. Look, I think at this stage, I think what we'll do is we'll get the tune on. So, Steve and Ben, do you want to just introduce the tune, and then Daz will play it on there?
Ben, go for it. You're good at this.
Okay, so next song you're going to hear is Crescent Moon by Moonlight Parade.
Get it, Daz.
I couldn't see what I was reflecting.
There you go.
Superb, that boys.
Superb.
Great
yeah,
song.
Well
absolutely.
done, lads. Now,
Well
I've
done.
got something to say here. Hang on. I can see everybody while that's going on. So, Steve, I want to see that mask on. Put that mask on again, man.
Is this a horrible
Yay!
Jackie? Is this a Jackie Weaver moment? Are we going to break the internet now on Radio 1 and get this all over the place?
I was laughing away to myself.
You text me that and I was like, what the fuck is that? How's that streaming out like that? I can see the show. It's not doing that.
Is it an improvement?
We just thought we had a terrible malfunction going on. I thought we were going to get an internet. We were going to get an internet classic there for a moment. Brilliant.
He has to wear it round Worthing because he's too famous now. So.
Oh, right. I see. Yeah, Chris is a bit like that where he lives for numerous other reasons.
Yeah.
Comment here from Mike Kent. He's comparing you to the Doors, lads. That's a pretty good compliment.
Like the Doors,
Yeah.
love the Doors, yeah.
So from a perspective of from you guys, what's next then? Obviously, you said you've got the EPs, you've got the vinyls. What's the next big thing then, or what's the aim, I suppose, for Moonlight Parade? You know, what's sky's the limit. So if it is, you know, where do you guys want to be?
Well, ideally, we just want to get our name out there more. We want to get on, say, Six Music and things like that, which would be an aim. Festivals. We've got a gig penciled in Manchester in June, but we don't think it will be going ahead at this stage. So it might be back in September, I think. It might be rescheduled for. But that would be good. That's with another band called the Mariners, and is it Revivalry?
Revivalry. They're the young.
Yeah,
they're
young
kids. I think
band,
their average age is 14 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've been in touch with us to get on, so we're having a look. I think the other thing as well. Hopefully, we're trying to nail down, but we've got Shiner Sam coming on.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully in a couple of weeks. Hopefully we're thinking in a special to do a whole piece around music, but also around some of the stuff she did with men's mental health and stuff. So that'll be one to watch out for on one of the future pods.
To Reading or something? Or?
She did, yeah. She did a couple of the long treks and stuff. So I've been talking to her there tonight. So hopefully we can make that happen in a few weeks' time. So I'm kind of exhausted on questions, and I know that Chris is sitting eagerly there with the loaded quiz. So I will hand over delicately to him to crack on. And for me, listen, lads, I really appreciate the comms, and I'm delighted to have had you on and make this happen. Certainly from the pod, it'll be out there on YouTube. We'll keep tweeting and promoting, and we'll keep the name going out there for you. But brilliant. Chris, over to you for the loaded quiz. Let's see what the duo here can do.
Loaded quiz.
Okay.
Perfect, Chris.
I nearly said quiz loaded then.
We've got the United Forest connection here as well today.
Love
the duo.
Oh, look at you, Daz. You must have had time off, were you?
I love the graphics. I love the graphics.
Your art department's been working overtime.
Yeah, me.
Right, lads. So, just a bit of housekeeping before we start. So, there's going to be 14 questions, and therefore there's 15 points up for grabs. And as you may have seen from a couple of shows ago, we're not doing the timing anymore. So I'm just going to ask you the 14 questions. So you've got a little bit of time to think of your answer before you give it. Okay, boys? So let me know when you're ready and we will start.
Are we taking it in turns, or is it just to both of us?
I'm going to ask to both of you. Yeah,
Okay.
You've come on as a duo, so we can do it as a duo. You might be able to help each other. So it'll be interesting to see what the final score is, lads. No pressure. Okay?
Okay.
So, first question is, how many sides in total would 3 triangles and 3 rectangles have? No calculators.
Steve's just thinking, it's time to put that mask back on now.
I've got to take your first answer, by the way.
Do you want me to go, Steve?
Definitely.
Is it 21?
Okay, I'll take 21 as your answer. Okay, so can you name the current Man United player who is actually on loan to Nottingham Forest at the moment?
Good question. I don't think I can. Can you, Steve?
Yeah.
Is he a defender?
The midfielder, centre midfielder, Ghana.
You know his first name?
James.
Lovely
James,
jubbly.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, James.
Okay.
Garner,
Yeah. Okay.
Very
So
good.
question number 3. Oktoberfest is a world famous and traditional beer festival. But in which month does Oktoberfest typically take place?
It's either a trick question, or could be just a route one. It's got to be October. It's Germany. They wouldn't put it in November. That's October.
They're too organised, aren't they?
Yeah, October.
October.
Okay, lads. So the next question is, how many days does it take for the Earth to orbit the Sun?
And you're good at.
Oh, that was a very quick disposal of that question. Yeah.
Paint the sun, low sun.
Oh yeah. What's the question again? How many what? How many days does?
Oh, is Chris frozen? Have we got a malfunction here?
To reset Chris, and we have no backup of the questions, so because this is live.
Oh, he's back.
He's
He's back.
I'm back. I was panicking then mid-quiz. I can't believe
You
it.
weren't the only one. What was the question again?
I will
Give us the
repeat the
question again,
question.
please, pal.
Okay, so how many days does it take for the Earth to orbit the Sun?
Well, I don't know, Steve. Do you?
No. Let's say 1.
Yeah.
Okay, lads.
Yeah. God.
So the next one, and this is for 2 points, lads, okay? In their last, and I've seen you tweeting about this earlier, so there's no excuses for this one, all right? In their last fixture against each other, Man United beat Nottingham Forest 8-1. Current manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer came on in the 71st minute of this game. How many goals did he score?
4.
Yeah. From my recollection, it was 4, wasn't it?
Okay,
Yeah, we fell
and for the second point, who scored for Nottingham Forest that day?
What year was that?
99. I want to say Alan Rodgers.
Okay,
Left back, was it?
Yeah, Scouser.
so next question is, which team did Man United play in the game that became known as the Battle of the Buffet?
Arsenal.
Okay.
Swift answer there. Swift answer.
I know, confident. I like it. How many League Cups have Nottingham Forest won in their history?
4.
Okay. Which frequently used household item has a tree but no leaves? I thought I froze again then.
These are tough, Chris.
I'm just thinking, where the hell did you get these questions from? Like, I told the two lads,
mate.
you have nothing to worry about. We tailor it to make you look good.
I've done a lot of work.
Jesus, lad.
I've done a lot of work. I'll repeat it anyway.
Yeah.
Which frequently used household item has a tree but no leaves?
Frequently used. Oof.
I'd be crap at this quiz. I really would.
I don't know, Steve. Do you?
No.
If you don't know, lads, hit pass, move on.
Okay,
move
no
on.
problem. Right. Man United beat West Ham to reach the FA Cup quarter-final last night thanks to an extra-time goal from Scott McTominay. But what shirt does Scott wear for Man United?
What number?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't say number, did I? I said
The
shirt.
red
I
one.
said shirt, yeah. The red one, yeah. Yeah, what shirt number?
I'm sure it's got. Is it a 6? But I think Harry Maguire wears 6, didn't he?
I think it's like a big number, like.
Do you think it's a big number? Do you?
25, something.
I'll give you the clue. Paul Popper wears number 6.
Yeah, I thought probably
Okay.
six, yeah.
Okay. Oof. 22's in my mind for some reason. Or like, what did you say, 15 or 14?
15 or 25 or something. I can't remember. Got a guess on something. Let's say 15.
You go 15?
Yeah, go 15.
Okay, lads. Next one. Which Oasis member is older, Noel or Liam?
No.
No.
Okay. In the 98-99 season, Nottingham Forest were sadly relegated from the Premier League and finished bottom. Charlton finished 19th, but who finished 18th that season?
Jeez. Who was always going up and down then? West Brom, someone like that.
Back then, don't know. Someone maybe like Ipswich or Leicester.
Could be, yeah, could be.
You're on the right tracks, lads. I'll tell you that. It is a bit of a yo-yo club, so you're on the right track.
Leicester had a bit of an issue around there, didn't they? But remember they got Peter Taylor in, and is that around that? 99, 2000.
Got to take one of them two, haven't we?
Should we take Ipswich?
Take Ipswich.
You go in Ipswich. Okay, boys.
Ipswich.
Which pop group named themselves after a London postcode?
E17.
Okay. Now, this is a bit of a Liverpool Man United link, which I always like to include a Liverpool link where I can. So, Ringo Starr, not the club, just the place, by the way.
Sorry.
We'd just like to clarify that.
How's those windows, Chris?
Absolutely. I know, yeah. Trying to keep everyone on side. Right, so Ringo Starr was not the original drummer for the Beatles. Who was?
Oh, good question. Is it Stuart Sutcliffe? No, was he a guitarist? That's the only other name I know with the Beatles. Or unless it's a... Who's Pete Best?
That's what I was going to suggest.
Pete Best. Is it Pete? Yeah, Stuart Sutcliffe died, didn't he? Young. Pete Best.
Pete Best. Okay, lads.
Yeah.
And the last question. There is a pub called The Office, allowing drinkers to truthfully tell their partners they are still in the office. What pub name has sprung up near universities to allow students a similar excuse?
So repeat that again.
So there is a pub called The Office, which allows drinkers to truthfully tell their partners they are still in the office.
Okay.
What pub name has sprung up near universities to allow students a similar excuse?
The library?
I was going to guess that because I don't know. I missed the news on that.
It's got to be, isn't it? Something like that, the library.
Okay, boys. Well done. So I'm going to tot your scores up now, tell you where you are, and then you can choose, if you wish, to take on the bonus question, as we have every week. So let's have a look. So we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Oh.
You joint top with
And
Jace.
joint top at the moment, and a bonus question to come.
And the bonus question to come, exactly. Yeah, so it's all to play for. Okay, lads. So this is worth 5 points. However, I am gonna say I'll give you 2 points if you get relatively close to it. Okay, because it's quite a bizarre one. Right. So, on average, how many grapes does it take to make a standard bottle of wine? I'll be impressed if you get this.
How many grapes?
And then, like I always do, I'm going to ask Daz and Martin as well what their guess is.
Give them some kind of a range.
Give them a range,
within,
Chris,
within 20 or something like that.
Okay. So it's more than 100, but it's less than 1,000.
What do you reckon?
That's a fairly big range.
Big range. You put me on the spot. I don't know what to say.
I reckon it's 5, something around that. It's got to be, isn't it? If you think you got a bunch of grapes and squashed it all, it'd be like one drip.
See, and when you lads agreed to come on, little did you know you'd be sitting here thinking, how many grapes go in a fucking bottle of wine?
Is there any shop
like
open that we
that.
can get a
We
few
should.
grapes?
It's got to be in there. So
Hey, you should have seen the one last week with the how many dimples are in a golf ball. That was a tough one, wasn't it?
oh yeah, what was it? 100?
I'm laughing at all the answers coming in on the chat here. Eh?
Yeah,
The people
yeah.
playing along
Daz,
on the quiz.
Daz, do us a favour. Let's throw some up.
Yeah, throw
let's
some
Yeah,
up.
see
go on.
what's going on
Let's see
there.
what the viewers think.
2,200. Okay, that's optimistic.
John
John
Justice
Justice
Allen
Allen.
is hedging his bets here. He reduced
Oh,
it then
hang
to
on.
8.
Oh, John.
What's going on? There's a bit of cheating there going on.
Tom Dixon.
1,208.
It's nice and exact.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
750.
Mike's on the ball.
And we've got
Seven-
the scientist is coming out now. Depends on the size of the grapes.
Would it also depend on the size of the bottle?
I did say standard size bottle of wine.
75 CL. Yeah.
Steve, I'd say about 750.
I'll go with you. I haven't got a clue.
Right.
You think I
I think Jason's going to kill me here, but I'm going to have to give you 2 points because the answer is 700. And you did really well there
well
with the 750.
Well done.
Good that.
Well done.
Well
Gotta
done.
say,
That's a good
that was
pull
really
around.
good. Really good. So, boys, you finished on 12 points. Top
You
of the
are
leaderboard.
top of the leaderboard. Moonlight Parade. Well done, fellas.
Well done, lads.
Well done, lads.
Superb. Tell you what,
There
that's
was
some
some-
cracking football knowledge. Cracking
Yeah.
football knowledge.
There was
Lads,
some brain teasing questions in there as well. I'm glad I'm not doing it.
Let me
Remember when
just
this
let you...
used to be the 60-second quiz? It's now the 60-minute quiz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the new title.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And do you know what? I'll do, lads? I'll let you know. I'll quickly whiz through the answers just so you kind of know where you were. So, in terms of how many sides in total with 3 triangles and 3 rectangles, absolutely spot on. It was 21. The current Man United player on loan to Nottingham Forest was James Garner. So well done to that, Steve. It was a good one. Oktoberfest is the world famous traditional beer festival, and it most typically takes place in September, believe it or not. So they start it in September and then it finishes, I think, on the 3rd of October. So that's where the name comes from. This one you're going to kick yourself, by the way. How many days does it take for the Earth to orbit the Sun? It's 365.
Okay.
So, right, okay, yeah, you were absolutely spot on with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer scoring 4 goals for Man United in that 8-1 win, and it was Alan Rodgers who got the 1 goal for Nottingham Forest. So
Impressive. Well done.
Superb.
Well done.
Absolutely superb. The Battle of the Buffet was, in fact, with Arsenal, and I believe that was when Cesc Fabregas was meant to have thrown a pizza at Sir Alex Ferguson. Yeah. Which frequently used household item has a tree but no leaves? Did anyone have a go at that, Daz, in the comments?
Yeah, they did actually, and I think
Might have the answer.
John Justice Allen might have the answer. Yeah.
There he is, a mug. There he is. I'm not calling you a mug, by the way, John. Sorry.
I am.
Yeah, I am too.
Okay. Man United beat West Ham last night in the FA Cup, and it was Scott McTominay. He wears the number 39 shirt. So that was a difficult one, lads. That was a
I
hard
thought
one.
it was 45.
You're quite right. Noel is older than Liam. Noel's 52 and Liam is 47. In the 98-99 season, when Forest were relegated, so Forest finished bottom, Charlton finished 19th, and it was Blackburn who finished 18th.
Oh.
So close, because you were kind of like all the clubs you were throwing out, they were all in that similar range. So yeah, that was a close one. East 17 was the pop band named after a London postcode. Spot on. You got there in the end with Ringo Starr. He wasn't the original drummer. It was Pete Best. I'd say, well, that question always gets me because I remember watching, I think it was ITV News, and they'd done an interview with him. And they were asking him, how he felt about like being basically kicked out of the band. And he was like, yeah, it didn't bother me. I don't mind. And I just remember watching it thinking, you liar. He must be absolutely raging that happened. I feel really sorry for him, actually. But
he's on
apparently...
Twitter, I think. That's how I remember.
Oh, is he?
His name.
Is he?
Yeah, he's on there. He seems dead nice. When
We'll have to try and get him on. We can give him some condolences. We'll try and get him on. I feel really sorry for him.
All Beatles questions, yeah.
Yeah, because I think it was all of the band members went to the manager and basically said to the manager, "You're going to have to get rid of him." So I think he said they didn't actually even speak to him. Since he left that day, they never spoke to him again, which is really sad. But
yeah, it's tricky, isn't it?
yeah, artistic differences, I suppose.
Yeah.
And the last question, you're absolutely right. So the pub called The Office, where people can tell the partners are still in the office. You're right. For universities, they can now say that they're in the library.
Ah.
Very good.
So yeah, well done, lads. Yeah, 12
Well
points.
done.
Fantastic.
Yeah, there were some hard questions. So to come out of that and be top
Yeah.
of the leaderboard this evening, I think that deserves a round of applause, lads.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you deserve it,
superb.
lads.
Cheers.
Well done.
Well done. Daz, what's next?
Yeah, well, lads, you have the option now. Would you like to stay on and for the rest of the show and be part of it with us, or have you had enough? Up to your call.
I'm fine.
Happy to stay on.
Yeah, happy.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
I think
We haven't
then
got too much long to torture you with, so you're all right. What's next, Daz?
I think then it's time for Loaded 11. Okay, so what if you remember from last week, what we said here we'd do was we'd pick our all-time greatest team, and we'd each come with a suggestion, and we'd plead our case for that particular player. Last week we did keepers, and what we after our show last week we put up a poll, and this was the result of the poll. We got Buffon won it with 50%. So it was close actually for a while. There was 188 votes. Peter Schmeichel ran him close with 44%, and Van der Sar, thanks to Chris's commentary on him last week, did get much. Yeah.
I feel terrible, I still feel bad.
I tagged them all in, so they could have voted for themselves as well. It was up to them. So congratulations to Buffon, and he is in our dream team. I just found a little graphic for it, so we can edit it again. But that's how it's looking at the moment. So then we said we would look at left backs. So the left backs this week, and first up to go through his selection for left backs, and we do have some suggestions from the audience as well. But we'll do our three first, then we'll go to the audience. So Chris, who have you got first?
I'm feeling confident this week, Daz, and I've done a little bit of homework on my left back this week. I got shot down last week. I felt terrible. Still feel terrible on Edwin van der Sar. I'm not going to live that down. Even though I think the right choice was made. It was definitely between Buffon and Schmeichel, wasn't it? But this week, my left back is going to be. You're going to flash him up, Daz. Ashley Cole, the one and only. I've got to say with Ashley Cole, for me, he's arguably the best left back of my generation. I mean, he's had an absolutely fantastic career playing at left back. He started off with Arsenal, then he went to Chelsea. He was with Roma, LA Galaxy, and Derby. He made 508 appearances in total with 19 goals, 107 England caps, 3 times Premier League winner, 7 times FA Cup winner, a Champions League winner, a Europa League winner, a 3 times Community Shield winner. And the best stat of them all, he was married to Cheryl Cole, lads. So let's be honest, he's got to get the vote this week. Ashley Cole, for me, absolutely fantastic left back. And funnily enough, I was doing a Premier League, my all-time Premier League 11 the other day with one of the lads from the NUFC Matters group. And to be honest, he was the easiest selection for me. It's Ashley Cole all day long. I think, when you look back at, ex-pros, whenever they talk about who the best left back they've played with, who was one of the most talented players, natural ability, Ashley Cole's name always pops up. And I do believe Cristiano Ronaldo was asked, who's the toughest opponent you've come up against? And I'm pretty sure he said Ashley Cole.
Cheryl Cole.
Cheryl Cole, yeah, as well as Cheryl. Yeah, and we love Cheryl. So, yeah, that's my...
Cheers, Chris. I'll see your Ashley Cole, and I'll raise you Paolo Maldini. And at least 3 people have agreed with me in the chat here. So Paolo Maldini, I'll give you a bit of a history on him. Played for AC Milan. That's the only club he ever played for. 647 caps, 29 goals. Also played for Italy, 126 caps, 7 goals. Captain of AC Milan and Italy. He's currently the technical director at AC Milan. His father played for Milan, and now his son plays for AC Milan as well. He retired at the age of 41. He got 25 trophies with Milan. That's five Champions League, European Cups, 7 Serie A titles. He's never won. He didn't win the World Cup or the European Championship, but he came runner-up in both. So, but yeah, a class left back. He played a centre back as well, but we're putting him in that left back slot. So that's Paolo Maldini. That's the worst picture could get of him as well.
Okay.
Over to you, Martin.
Not a bad pick, Daz, I've got to say.
It's not a bad pick, but I think what you need to, I think you just need to go back to Daz's bit there, which was he was a runner-up. And I think he's also going to be a runner-up when it comes to my choice. So for left back, I think there is only one greatest ever left back in the world, and that's the one and only Roberto Carlos. So Roberto Carlos, currently age 47, played for Palmeiras, Inter Milan, Real Madrid, Fenerbahce, Corinthians, Anzi, and then finished off a glittering career in India at the Delhi Dynamos. Does it get any better than that? Brazil's left back, 125 appearances, 11 goals from 1992 to 2006, 2 Campeonatos with Palmeiras, 4 La Ligas, 3 Spanish Cups, 3 Champions League, 2 Intercontinental Cups, 1 UEFA Super Cup, Turkish Super Cup twice with Fenerbahce, won the World Cup with Brazil in 2002, 2 Copa Americas, a Federation Cup, Olympics, an Umbro Cup, FIFA World Player 97, FIFA All-Star, Ballon d'Or runner-up, and ESPN Team of the Decade. So
have you finished?
I can keep going all day long if you want, lads. I've got 101 stats. So for me, Roberto Carlos, the best left back that the game has ever seen. And I'm sure, Daz, I think you've got a little clip of one of his most famous hits there.
Yeah, just to remind us all, little bit of Roberto Carlos. Well, I'm sure everyone has tried this since.
Jimmy Bullard has.
It does defy science, that, doesn't it?
The banana
It
kick.
defies gravity, let alone science.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a beaut.
Classic.
So that is my entry, Roberto Carlos. So I will quite happily put that to the pollsters. John Justice, Alan knows nothing. Stick to making t-shirts, pal. Rather have Cheryl. That's true. Yeah, we're there.
Yeah.
So yeah, Roberto Carlos goes into the hat, and I'll happily see him go into the team alongside my other choice of Buffon next week, lads.
Okay,
So
I'm gonna bring you, and the lads. I'll put it to you as well. From the chat, we had Thuram, we had John Beresford, we had Santon as well, David Santon. We touched at the start of the show, Steve. We mentioned Stuart Pearce, but who would you suggest, lads? Best left back you've come across
I
through
like
the years?
to see someone that can score goals. So Ashley Cole would be out for me. I would like somebody. No, you need. That's what I would prefer. Stuart Pearce as an English left back because he had that free kick on him and he was charismatic.
He did.
You know, he had a bit more of a journey with England, didn't he, in the European Championships and the World Cup. But it would be between Carlos and Maldini for me, probably. Maldini's class, wasn't he? So it would probably be him for all round.
Yep. Okay.
Cheers, Ben. Steve, what do you think? You're some mute, Steve.
You're on mute.
Sorry about that.
No, you're great.
It's all right.
I'd probably say one of the players that have won the World Cup. So probably Maldini and Carlos. I'm sure have got one in their cabinet. So probably say Maldini was probably for me because very loyal player as well. You know, staying in the club. Just seems never to get injured. Just always ever present and won a lot domestically. Plus, obviously, I'm sure he won the World Cup as well. So I'd go Maldini.
Yeah. I think as a partnership, if you look at the Milan days, for me, one that always stood out was you had Franco Baresi and you had Maldini in that back four for Milan when they dominated. You had Hullet, Van Basten, and players like that. I think that Milan team was kind of when, you know, Channel 4 had Scudetto and James Richardson was on doing doing all the Italian football on a Sunday, and Gaza went to Roma and stuff like that. So I think that was Milan were always my kind of love of Italian football. And I think, you know, back to Ben's point, you talk about loyalty in players. We were only talking the other week about Francesco Totti. You know, only ever played for Roma. Only in his career, spanning, you know, best parts of 20 odd years, only ever had 2 contracts. And, you know, it's a shame. We were saying it's a shame those days have gone away now, that the player loyalty to contracts and stuff isn't there anymore. It's a business rather than a sport now, unfortunately. But anyway.
So lads, I reckon we get together and we pick we'll pick one offline, and we will put one of the selections. So we'll have 4 selections for left back, and then people can go to our Twitter page at Loaded Football and vote. So we had 188 votes last week. So can we break that this week?
Yep, absolutely.
So I think now it's time to move to the last section of the show. And Martin, are you ready to talk us through what's happening next week?
I am indeed. Okay, so next week, show 5, I think we are on. Having that much fun and forgetting how many we have. So next week, we've got the norms. So we've got loaded headlines. We've got loaded leaderboard. Special guest for the loaded tune next week is Sam Lambeth. If you haven't seen a bit of him, get on YouTube, have a look at him, hook him up on Twitter. We've got the loaded quiz. We've got the loaded 11. That's pretty much the mainstay. We've got a couple of other bits and pieces coming up. Don't forget, you can follow us on Twitter at Loaded Football. You can subscribe to Loaded Football on YouTube. All the shows go up there. You can hook us up there. If you've got any suggestions for anything you'd like to see included, if you're an up-and-coming band, if you're an established band, Bono and the lads, if you're watching, give us a shout. We'd love to have you on. From Daz's perspective, you can tell from the hairstyle, Harry Styles, if you're watching, we'd love to have you on.
Spice Girls, everyone,
exactly. But yeah, look, get on YouTube, get onto the page. Follow us, Cheryl, that'd be a cracking one. But yeah, give us a follow. And obviously, listen, the guys, Ben and Steve. Do you guys want to let people know where they can find you, where you guys are at, that if they want to get into the music and stuff, where they can find your tunes and find out a bit more about Moonlight Parade?
Yeah, we're everywhere across all the platforms. Spotify really for music. We've got everything, and we've done on there. Twitter, we engage with people on there a lot. Steve does a massive job of engaging with people and chatting every day to people that are interested in us, and we've got our own website as well, where if you wanted to buy any merchandise or the albums or the vinyl or anything like that, so that's, I think it's just Moonlight Parade Band, isn't it? .com, Steve?
Yeah.
.co.uk,
I think, I don't know, to be honest.
We'll put it up on Twitter after. So
get it up, get it on. If you drop it onto Loaded Football as well for people, where people can find you, then we'll obviously direct them that way. Obviously, one more thing for me before we say thanks and play out and Chris and Daz say their pieces. Obviously, we're show 5 into next week, and we are getting people to start to look at the channel. We are. Jeez, this guy. Yeah, do you know what it is? I was literally just about to go into. I was just about to go into a piece about, now that we're heading towards show 5. People that are out there having a look at the pod, following us on Twitter, looking at stuff. We'd really love to see somebody come on board as a bit of a sponsor, be it for a show, be it for a section, or whatever they want to do. We think we've got a good thing going. We're getting some really good music and some good talent up. We want that to continue, but we want to do a lot more. So from my perspective, Daz's perspective, and Chris, I suppose it's a bit of a reach out. But if you are out there and you would love to come on board with a newly found pod, have a look at what we do. Get onto Twitter, get onto YouTube, have a look at it. And if you do fancy it, get in touch with us and come on board and join us for our journey along the way. I know John Justice Allen is sitting there and does a lot of other stuff, but now that he's refuted my Roberto Carlos, then I think we'll look elsewhere for sponsors. But anyway, so look, that's it from me. It's been a cracking show. Ben and Steve, I would just obviously like to thank you both for coming on.
No problem.
Love the tunes. We will keep promoting you. And certainly from my perspective, I wish you guys and Moonlight Parade all the very best for 2021. So
Thanks, guys.
thanks very much for coming on,
Appreciate
lads.
it.
Thanks for having
Cheers.
us. Take care.
Thanks. No worries.
Thank you.
Daz and
Cheers,
Chris, over to you, boys.
Yeah, I'd just
Go
like to
first, Chris.
say Ben and Steve, fantastic. Well done on the quiz again. Absolutely great. Now top of the leaderboard. And as Martin said, absolutely banging tune. Absolutely love that. And I'll, keep looking out for all new stuff that you bring out. And obviously, we'd love to have you back on as well in the future. So
Yeah, definitely.
we'd really like that. So yeah, once again, thank you very much, lads.
I'm off to make a bottle of wine with some grapes.
Steve's off to rehearse on quizzes and stuff. Yes, he has to come back on.
Count those grapes, Ben, please.
I will,
We want
I
to
will.
verify the
Yeah,
answer.
sure.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
thanks, lads, for coming on, and thanks for everyone for watching and on playback and live. And lads, do you want to introduce your tune again one last time? Crescent Moon.
Yeah, so this is Crescent Moon from the Bright Lights EP by Moonlight Parade.
Thanks, everybody. Good luck.
Thanks very much, lads.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Good luck.
See
Thanks,
you guys.
guys.
Thanks.